Hey, Xiaomi here. So today I wanted to do a wrap up of my favorite reads for the month of June, July, and August. Just because I wasn't able to do a separate wrap up for each month, what I decided to do was just speak about the books that I enjoyed throughout those 3 months and the books that I just felt a bit disappointed by, or just ones that really didn't grip me from beginning to end. Those I'm going to include them in my end of the year disappointing reads, just because I think that they will suit better in that category than actually like me speaking about them every single moment right now, because I just really don't want to speak about them. I want to speak about positive books. So yeah, I just wanted to do that. There's one book that deviates from the norm in the set that I have here, but just because the ending really did grip me, that's why I decided to include it. But for the most part, every single book that I am going to be speaking about are ones that I honestly really did enjoy. So without further ado, let me tell you which are my favorite reads for the month of June, July, and August. The first book that I want to speak about is one that I honestly wasn't expecting to pick up, but I was in a huge reading slump throughout the month of June, and I was just like, you know what, let me pick up this book on audio, because what can I lose? Really nothing. So I decided to pick up Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren, and I absolutely fell in love with this book. I loved it so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it was just what I needed at the moment that I felt like I was in a huge reading slump. So I just picked this up and enjoyed. The romance was just so cute, and I also loved their chemistry because I thought that they kind of, even though that they are completely different, you know, they really were compatible. They had a lot of things that made them being compatible with one another, and this, again, their chemistry was just beautiful, and I loved it. And I just enjoyed how supportive, loving, caring Josh was, and also how eccentric Hazel was. And yet Hazel was such an eccentric character that Josh really didn't want her to deviate from that. You know, he supported her, and that's something that I was just like, yes, it was so beautiful. You know, having him just be like, yeah, you should be yourself, you shouldn't be anybody else. And that was something that kind of, you know, it brought a lot of comfort and joy into my heart. And there were so many moments that were just hilarious, and just, you know, moments that I was just like, wow. Because there's a moment in this story where they basically deem each other undateable, so they decide to set each other up on dates. And it was just there were moments that were hilarious. There were moments that I was just like, what? And there were also some tensions that were brought in that I was just like, no, this person is not right for you, so you should definitely not accept this person in your life. But overall, I love the way it ended, and I enjoyed the writing. And there are a couple of quotes that I really did enjoy. There's one that really like stood out to me, but I really did enjoy the ending. If I can nitpick, it was that I really wanted a little bit more from the story, but in the moment that I actually wanted something quick and fun and fluffy to read, this is something that, you know, did not disappoint. And even though there are a lot of things that are serious topics, especially, you know, being treated the way you are if you're kind of eccentric, especially as a woman, if you're really out there, and, you know, the way that you are viewed by other people might not be the same way that you view yourself. But as long as you're happy with yourself and you love yourself, it was something that I just resonated with, because it was something that was really beautiful to read about in a story. So this was just such a wonderful reading experience. That I'm going to be speaking about is one that I really did enjoy, and that is Aurora Rising by the dynamic duo in sci-fi writing, Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This was just such a wonderful reading experience that I read it twice, because once I physically read it and physically annotated it, and the second time I heard the audio format. And I thought that the audio format was just such an immersive reading experience, because the multimedia does come to life, and there are also like little sounds that immerse you within the story, because it's basically like you're hearing, you know, a movie. And that was something that was really enjoyable. So Aurora Rising, if you don't know anything about it, is that we have a girl named Omai, I can't pronounce her name. Okay, it's Aurora. I'm not gonna pronounce her last name because I just can't, I'll butcher it. But it's Aurora, and she's basically been in cryo sleep for more than 200 years. And all of a sudden, Tyler, which is the golden boy of the squad, stumbles upon her cryo pod, and he saves her life. And then a lot of things ensue. He does have a misfit band of just really intelligent people within his squad, but they aren't the ones that he would have normally picked, just because they are completely different from one another. They actually want to work on by themselves instead of actually working in a group. So it's actually nice, the friendships that basically, you know, rise up from this story, which is something that I was really interested by. But this story just is action packed. There are many moments that just, you know, had me, you know, on the edge of my seat, because I was just like, no, nothing can happen to these characters, because I really did connect with them. And even though the writing style is very simple. It's one that I really did enjoy because it's like honestly what I wanted at the time. World building in this book is one thing that I really did enjoy. Like there are moments that the multimedia formats say press here, and I literally wanted to press there because I was like, wow, these creatures and alien races and just world in general that they're bringing to life would sounded so fascinating. And I'm gonna say that there are kind of like a lot of tributes or homage to past movies, especially like E.T. and The Fifth Element. So those are little things that I really did enjoy that I honestly captured after people mentioned them, because like in the beginning I was just reading. I really didn't connect this with anything else aside from just the story per se. So it was nice for those things to actually be included and you'd be like, oh my god, why did I miss out on that? But yeah, and I also love the characters. Like I said, it's a band of misfits, but you know, they're very intelligent. They know what they're doing, and it's just wonderful reading about these guys because it's like you have great representation, because you have a person of color who's just so weird and you don't get much from her because there's a lot of things going up in her mind, but she was just an interesting, quiet, reserved character. There is also a sassy bisexual alien that's also he does have like a, can I say, like an invisible disability, because he does wear an exosuit because there's something that happened to him, and I really did enjoy him. We have a sassy pilot, and she was one that I was just like, yes, I absolutely love her. And there's also this brooding, just a lovely elf. He's a misunderstood one, like, let's say that. And also we have a sibling interaction that I really did enjoy, and even though they are completely different, their differences really just shine because they're so great and they're so loving towards one another. But I really did enjoy the story. It was just such an amazing story, and I can't wait for the sequel to actually be released because it's already been written. So yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And also, if you don't like multiple perspectives within a story, then I don't think this is something that you're going to love, because there's at least 6 different POVs and every single one of them stood out differently because, like I said, every single one of these characters is so individual, and the way that they speak and the way that they carry themselves was just so entertaining to actually read about. The next book that I'm going to be speaking about is one that I really did enjoy and one that took me by surprise, and that one is Something Strange and Deadly by Susan Dennard. This is the first book in her trilogy. These are the first books that she ever wrote about. I have mentioned them before, and I think in one of my book hauls, but this was just such an epic start to a series. And here we have Eleanor, and she is this ordinary girl who one day sees dead that are basically have arisen, and there are these spirit hunters that are called in order to investigate to see what is it that's happening and why is it that the dead are walking and roaming around as if nothing happens. So I think that there is this necromancer that's behind it, and everything just ensues from there. So they're trying to decide what's happening, who is the person that's actually behind this, and can they stop that person, and is it more than they actually bargained for. I just love the characters. There is such a great diverse representation in this story, and these characters are ones that really, you know, won my heart, and ones that I really did enjoy throughout the story. In this story, we do get a tantalizing mystery. There's also plot twists that are being woven into the story that we are getting subtle little hints throughout the story, and I was like, wait, is it this person because of this that happened to that person in the past? And then when that actually, you know, gets spoken of, I was just like, wow, that was something that I was anticipating, because, you know, there are subtle hints. You know, it's like you're forming this jigsaw puzzle and everything is, you know, you're putting the pieces where they're supposed to be, and that's something that I really did enjoy, like actually coming up with everything in the end. And also what they lost in the end was just also very amazing. There's also a novella in this book, and one that I really did enjoy because it follows one of these side characters from the story, so it was nice to know a little bit more about him and what was it that happened to that person in the past. The next book that I'm going to be speaking about are ones that I physically don't have, but ones that I read on Scrib, and they are graphic novels, and that's Backstagers Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 for Backstagers I gave 4 out of 5 stars because I thought it was a really wonderful start to the story. I was a bit lost in the beginning because I was like, wait, what's happening? I don't know. But then, you know, as you continue to read the story, you're going to understand why is it that things are happening the way that they are happening. But I just thought that the characters were just so cool, and I just loved the story. But there was a cliffhanger at the end, so that's why I was just like, wait, what happened? Volume 2, I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars just because I thought that it had everything that it needed. You know, there is a male-on-male romance. We have such great introduction of side characters that I was just like, wow, I'm loving these characters so much. And we also get further development of the plot, and also that cliffhanger cliffhanger that happened in volume 1, well, it is explained in the second one, which is, you know, like a big duh. But I really was entertained by the story from beginning to end, and then that's why I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, because it was really enjoyable. So I would really like to get those graphic novels to actually add to my collection, because like the artwork is also something that I really did enjoy, and it was just such a beautiful story to read about. I was just immersed. Sunday to pick up The City of Brass, which was a book that I had on my shelves for quite a while, and I was like, you know what, let me just pick up City of Brass. And oh my heaven and lord, this did not disappoint. I love this book so much from the first page. So it gripped my attention from the very first moment. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars because it was just that glorious. It was an amazing story to actually read, and also the audiobook was something that was really great. This book has a story of self-discovery from an Egyptian outcast who roughly stumbles upon a journey within her life that she really didn't expect, and there's so many things that are happening, because in this story we have relatively subplots until the actual grand scheme of them reaching Daevabad, and it was just so much action and just things that are happening. I was like, okay, what else is gonna happen to them? And I was just like, wait, I want these characters to be okay, because I was just immersed in them and I just enjoyed them so much, because I wanted to root for them even though I didn't know too much about them. I was just like, wait, I want to know more. I can't, nothing can happen to them, because they were just so compelling from the moment that they were introduced. And you know, I honestly loved it so much. Something else that really did stand out for me in this book is that we have a fantasy world, but it's speaking about real life situations that are happening nowadays. So I thought that the author did an amazing job at weaving these two things together, so we can actually, like, you know, be hit with, you know, a dose of reality. You know, these are things that are happening in real life. What are you going to actually do about them? And, you know, having these characters grow through those experiences was something that it was just quite refreshing to actually read about. And also there's trigger warnings for a lot of things in this book. I'm going to be leaving my review for it. I did review it on Goodreads down below, so you can actually like check all the trigger warnings that I would assume you have to tread carefully when reading this book, because this isn't YA, this is roughly new adult, so there are a lot of moments where you might be triggered. There is speak of rape, there is actually, you know, dehumanizing certain cultures, and also barbaric deaths towards both children and adults. So yeah, I'd actually say that, you know, tread carefully, because there is a lot of mention of that. But just the story per se was just, it was just amazing. You know what, it was just that, you know, it was magical, it was unbelievable, and it was just such a wonderful story that I can't wait to continue the sequel to see what else is it that happens, because there are also some things that, you know, cliffhangers that, you know, we were introduced to, and also little hints of things that I'm just like, whoa, how is this going to get explained? So I really can't wait to continue. That I'm going to be speaking about is one that took me by surprise, and that one is Jacoby by William Ritter. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Here we have a historical fiction paranormal mystery story, and I just love the eccentric detective known as Jacoby. He is out there, he has a lot of aloofness, but when it comes down to it, the man knows what he's speaking about, and he handles these weird, mysterious cases that roughly nobody has an explanation for. So that was something that I really did enjoy, and also I loved him so much, and loved the story also so much, just because it reminded me of TV shows / movies that I really did enjoy. It reminded me of Supernatural and Grimm, and also Buffy the Vampire at times, and I was just so immersed within this story. And also Jacoby reminded me of Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr. Portrayal, mixed with Newt Scamander. I don't know why, but he reminded me of these two people, and I was just like, oh my god, this is the best of both worlds, and I simply love you so much. Also, Abigail's tenacity was something that I quite enjoyed from her, and another thing that really stood out was the fact that Jacoby and Abigail Rook do not have a romance, and that was just something that I was like, yes, their love is completely platonic. It's just strictly business. She is his partner and they work together, and that was something that was a breath of fresh air, because it's roughly like when you have a story, there's always like the main characters fall in love with one another. So that was refreshing to not have it included in this story. So yeah, there was a side romance that I was just like, I wouldn't mind that one. But yeah, I was immersed. I loved it so much, and I was just completely, like I said before, I was surprised by this story. And the writing is something that's very simple. I did see like a few errors within the book, and here I'm not saying that I'm the cop police, hey, but you know, it was just, I don't know if that's the way the author wanted to format it, but I was just like, when I read it, I was just like, that doesn't sound right. So anyways, who am I to say? But yeah, it was just so immersive, and it was just completely and utterly enjoyable. And also the plot twist that it does have, because even though you are given clues and hints of things that are happening, I honestly did not know who was the ultimate bad guy until that person was mentioned. And I was here like, no, it has to be this person, because it can't be anybody else. Who else is it gonna be? But no, I was completely proven wrong, and I was just like, wow. You know, it was shocking, and I really loved the story from beginning to end. Next book that I'm going to mention is the one that I had mentioned that deviates from the norm of books that I really did enjoy, but since the ending just gripped me and I was just immersed, I have to mention it because of that. And it is a book that I did struggle with a lot, but it's Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I would give this book, and it's something that I wrote in my review, the first 200 pages is 2 out of 5 stars, just because I felt one loss, which is something that was odd for me to say, especially in fantasy when it's the most of what I read. I just did not like the writing style. He does use a lot of similes and metaphors to explain a lot of things that he is trying to convey, and I thought that at times using these figurative language just really took away from the enjoyment of the story, because I was like, just get to the point. You don't have to be such an elaborate person just to say one simple thing. And also there was unnecessary information that I really didn't care about, especially the footnotes. There were a lot of footnotes that I skimmed over. There were some that I didn't even read because I didn't care about, and those are things that really took away from my enjoyment of the story. I also thought that there was a point where the pace slowed down, but the last 40%, oh my heaven and Lord, hell no, I was not expecting to enjoy these characters so much, because like I said, in those first 200 pages I was like, yeah, I root for you, I'm okay with you. But it isn't until we start getting the backstory of these characters and what is it that drives them, that motivates them to continue to pursue their vendetta, I was completely immersed, because I am a character driven reader, so I need to feel certain empathy for these characters or either root for their vengeance, you know, which is something that I don't think that should be done. But if there is enough remorse in my heart for them, then I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, you need to take this vengeance ASAP, because there is no other way that you can actually live with yourself. So actually getting to know more of these characters, especially Trick, and a little bit more from Mia, and also the acolytes, getting to know their wants, their desires, even subtle hints of certain things that did transpire in their backstories. I was just like, hell yeah. There were some acolytes that I have to mention that were a bit difficult to digest, and up to this day I still don't know how I feel about them. But that last 40% had so many unexpected plot twists and turns that I was just, I honestly, you know, my jaw dropped in a moment, because I was like, who the hell is killing all these acolytes? There really is an explanation to who the hell is killing these acolytes. And then when that person is revealed, I was like, oh my effing Lord. Because I honestly did not see that coming, and I thought that the ending was great. It was just, wow. I don't know, I'm even lost for words, but that ending made up for everything within the story. I would also have to emphasize that I would die in the Red Church. I would not survive 5 minutes there. Just getting to the Red Church, and also the, can I say, teachers, oh my god, I'd definitely die within the first, okay, let me give me like within the first hour of any kind of test being ministered within me. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that. Another one is Mr. Kindly. I was not expecting to enjoy Mr. Kindly so much. His sass, his attitude, and also getting to know a little bit more about him and how is it that he feels about Mia. Oh my god, won my heart, just completely won my heart. So yeah, this is a book that overall I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, because like I said, the first 200 is 2, and then the last 40% I would definitely give it 4 out of 5 stars. But since I'm roughly comparing these two, I would definitely give it a 3 out of 5 stars. So yeah, am I going to continue with the next one? Yes, I am, because I want to know what the hell else is it that happens, especially with the things that were introduced at the end. Next book that I'm going to be mentioning is also another one that really took me by surprise, one that I was not expecting to love as much as I did. I don't physically own the book just because I read it on Scribd. I heard the audio format for it, even though I have a few little minor complaints about the audiobook. Overall, I thought it was a great experience, and that is Sorcerer's Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I gave that one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just thought that the story was so gripping from the first chapter, and I was just so immersed and just captivated and just enjoying everything that I was just like, I need to hurry up and finish this audiobook because it is so immersive, and I just love the characters so much. And even though I have to say that the writing style is very simple, but yet it's atmospheric when it has to be, especially relating to how magical the libraries are and how the grimoires are, and also when the narrator in the audiobook spoke referring to these grimoires, I loved that little eerie aspects that she gave to, you know, those grimoires speaking. So that's something that really immersed me within the story. Okay, now referring to the characters, Elizabeth Scrivener is one that I really did enjoy. I thought that the fact that she was tall, fierce, strong, naive, because she is a character that's really naive in the beginning. She was raised in a library, so reading books is all she knows about. So when she's thrusted into the real world, she's really naive and she thinks that things are gonna come and hurt her. But after she realizes these things was something that was really amazing. So her character growth throughout the story is one that I really did enjoy, because yes, she is a fierce character because she proved that there are bigger things out there than actually, you know, running for your life. So that's something that I enjoyed about her, and just her per se, her persona, everything about her was just amazing. Nathaniel, oh my god, he is just such a great character. I thought that they complemented one another great. He is a bisexual sorcerer, and his brooding characteristics were amazing. And also Silas is another one that, you know, I loved so freaking much. He just warmed my heart so much, and there were so many things that he did that I rooted for, because I was just like, wow, these characters are so amazing. Like, I'm loving them from beginning to end. Overall, I think that Sorcery of Thorns is a compelling story. It's one that shows you the love of books and respecting books and how powerful knowledge is. So those are things that really stood out to me in Sorcery of Thorn, which is why I enjoyed it so freaking much. If I would definitely have to nitpick on two things, it would have to be the villain, that I thought he wasn't fleshed out correctly. Like, give me the motive, the desires, the wants. What is it that this villain wants to accomplish in the end? Not just being a villain for villain's sake, you know. Give me a little bit of backstory, even to, you know, get to know that person a little bit better, even though I'm not going to feel any remorse for the villain, but I would love for that to have been set up. Also, there could have been a great character arc for a character, and I thought that it wasn't cemented on, and oh man, it could have been a great turning point in the story. So I think that those are the two things that should have been improved in the story. But overall, I honestly cannot wait to pick that book up just to read it again and physically annotate it. Final book that I'm going to mention is one that's a reread for me, but I just want to say it because I wasn't expecting to love it all over again, and that one is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I thought that the story per se is just so inventive and so intriguing, and like this world, it also makes you question, can these things happen? Can this catastrophic event happen where, you know, there's something that happens to the world and all of a sudden, because of your atrocious / evil villainous acts, these monsters surge out of those acts that are committed by human beings. So I thought that the world was just so imaginative. So that's why I always have to give it to Victoria Schwab, because she does such great world building and such great characters that she introduces. August was one that I love from beginning to end. Kate, is it? Yes, Kate is one that, even though she was tough to get into, because like I wasn't expecting this on my reread, and in the beginning I was just like, why do you want to be this person so much? You know, just be who you are and you're gonna love yourself in the end for that. So it was really nice to have her character growth, for her to actually see the things and know that the true path is actually to love yourself and to accept yourself. So yeah, she is a tough, badass character. I'm not gonna take that away from her, but just I would have loved for her to be her own person from the beginning. But that was something that was great about her, because eventually we got to know a lot more from her in the end. But just the villains, the ones that you don't actually expect to be villains, it was just wow, amazing. I loved going back into this world and actually remembering these little things, these little details that I had forgotten about. You know, the family dynamics, how loving a certain family was towards their kids was something that I have to admit was really enjoyable to see within the story. And actually the real father figure, how wow, just wow. I'm not gonna say, but just wow, because of that person. You know, there are a lot of things that could have done better, like could have done better. There were moments where I was just like, I physically wrote on it because I was like, this bastard, the hell would he actually do that? So yeah, there are a lot of things that I really did enjoy, so I can't wait to continue. So I do remember that Our Dark Duet really wasn't my fave just because it had a lot of unanswered questions, but I'm gonna see if I actually feel the same way. But with this one, loved it so much. So yeah, so those are all the books that I read throughout the months of June, July, and August that I actually really did love, and that, you know, were my favorite reads throughout those months. So if you want to tell me which was your favorite read throughout these 3 months, or just one that really stands out that you can say, wow, this is one that I really did enjoy. If I would have to pick one, I can't, because I really can't, because it would definitely have to be between The City of Brass and Sorcery of Thorns. Those two are books, even Jacoby, those 3 books are ones that really took me by surprise, and ones that I was not expecting to be immersed within. So I really can't choose one out of those 3. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful day and or night, and I'll see you in my next video.